Hello, welcome to stargazing sessions. By following my tutorials, you'll never be lost in the night sky again. I've mastered a way to decipher the sky very simply so that anybody can approach it very conveniently. First off, if you wish to learn astronomy, you must consider that when you look at a star map, it's three-dimensional in reality, of course, but when you see a star map, it's kind of not apparent very readily or very obviously to the student that that two-dimensional flat star map actually has its own three-dimensional aspect to it. And basically, for example, the secret to reading a star map or a planisphere is a cardboard circle that you spin according to what date and time you want. But always got to remember a few things when using a star map, and the reason I'm here is to give you a shortcut, kind of give you a wormhole to learning astronomy. They say if there's aliens, they use wormholes to cross vast distances of the universe very quickly and simply. That's what I'm trying to do here with everyone here, is that I want to provide a wormhole to learning astronomy so you don't have to go the vast distance of learning on your own like I did. I started studying it back in 1998. Of course, it's 2013, so 15 years ago. I didn't have the benefit of a Google Sky app or a computerized telescope. I had to do it all very primitively, and all I had was good old-fashioned technique, just a big old 10-inch wide, 6-foot long Dobsonian telescope and my star atlases and my binoculars and my naked eye. By learning it the hard way, I was able to master the secrets of the sky. And again, going back to the introduction here, what you really have to know when you study the stars, visual astronomy, what you have to know, here's a secret. Just remember this. There's three motions in the sky. Everything in the north, if you're the northern hemisphere, everything is going counterclockwise in the north. In your south, while you're in the northern hemisphere, everything's moving clockwise. And overhead, everything's passing straight over. So there's three different motions in the sky, and you got to remember this when you look at a star map. And nowadays, you can buy a go-to telescope, but still, everybody has to learn the sky old-fashioned wise. There's no way around it. You're not gonna really bypass your way to knowing the sky just because you have a sky app or because you have a fancy computerized telescope. You still have to lay classical old-fashioned foundations, just like back in the past. Everything is still there. There's a lot of fundamental technique, even though we have the conveniences of today, modern technology. But anyhow, what you do want to know is, again, everything rises in the east. The stars rise in the east. But remember, as you go more towards the north, everything starts to move counterclockwise. So there's only certain stars that will, pass overhead. But like I said, you have counterclockwise in the north, clockwise in the south, and everything in the middle of the sky goes right over your head. So when you look at a star map, just remember that, there's a three-dimensional aspect. If you're looking at a star chart, you have to say to yourself, how does this apply in reality in terms of time of the night and season? I mean, another key to unlocking knowing the stars is always ask yourself, what season are these stars in? Well, not just stars. We're talking constellations here. So stars is a little bit of a loose term when you're studying the sky. You should more likely always be thinking in terms of constellations. I would be looking at this counter, but this god bright light is in my face, blinding me and showing my retinal vessels while I talk. Sorry about that. But, okay, so if you want to be a virtuoso of the sky, you need to always ask yourself, what constellation is my target in? And once you know the constellation, is this constellation spring, fall, winter, summer? What time of day is it normally visible in the, early evening? When is it visible in the early evening? And even then, even though a constellation might not be visible in the early evening, it will always be visible, before dawn or after midnight, just depending. You can hop seasons, whatever is visible in the summer, you can see the next season stars usually after midnight if you wait long enough, and then by dawn you can see another season stars. So that's another secret about the sky. It'll show you different seasons all within the course of one night, just based on the Earth's rotation through the night. So these are the fundamentals that I want to lay. Again, just to recap everything, the first thing to knowing the sky is knowing its patterns, knowing its cycles, its movements. It has movements every night, specifically counterclockwise in the north, clockwise in the south, and passing overhead from east to west. Remember, north is counterclockwise, south is clockwise movement, east to west movement is just going overhead. Now, another thing is your constellations do change with the seasons, of course, and you have your winter constellations and your fall constellations, summer constellations and spring constellations. Knowing where to find these is all based on time, and through the course of the night, stars move across the sky at a certain rate, which basically is 15 degrees per hour. Your fist held at arm's length is about 10 degrees of arc, angular measure known as arc. Now, again, going back to learning the stars, there are certain constellations that are known for different seasons, and summer constellations are, Sagittarius, Scorpius. Winter constellations, Canis Major, Orion. In the northern hemisphere, the Big Dipper is high overhead in spring and summer. Other stars of summer are the Summer Triangle, Vega, and the constellation Lyra, Altair in the constellation Aquila, and Deneb in the constellation Cygnus. Now, again, like I said, my basic my basic motivation for learning astronomy from absolute zero was that I wanted to know how to point a telescope in order to behold an object in the sky. So that was my goal. How do I point a telescope, and what do I point it at, and how? So to know how to do that, you do have to know your stars. And there's just so many divisions to know, but they can be covered quite simply. Like I said, I will be your wormhole to learning astronomy very rapidly. So that is lesson 1. Know the seasons of your constellations and know their movements. Are they in the south? Are they in the north? Or are they east to west? And constellations that move from east to west are usually your zodiac signs, because they're on a plane called the ecliptic. The ecliptic path is where the sun, moon, and planets move, and that is normally, the zodiac is located about 12 degrees either side of the ecliptic path. And there's, of course, 12 zodiac signs. And again, so this first lesson is to say, if you want to start learning the stars, know your constellations, know what seasons they belong to, and know their three-dimensional location in the sky. Like I said, when you read a star map, it's not going to tell you what part of the sphere of the sky it's in. There's just no three-dimensional aspect to any map of stars you look at until you see them in reality. And that's why I'm here to dissolve that riddle. There's so many constellations that are located in different parts of the sky, and it's up to you to determine where they are in a three-dimensional layout of the sky's dome. So let's just say in the north you always will have Draco the dragon, Ursa Major the Great Bear, which contains the Big Dipper, Ursa Minor the Little Dipper. You have, and then stepping on the head of Draco the dragon is Hercules. Now Hercules moves east to west over the sky. It's not north, it's not south, it's an east to west constellation. And Hercules connects to Lyra, the vulture, or the harp, which is also an east to west moving constellation. So is Cygnus and Aquila the eagle. And in the south you have, for example, Sagittarius, Scorpius, and other east to west constellations that are connected to the zodiac signs. Now, zodiac signs in the northern hemisphere are always located more in a southerly direction. And so that will conclude this lesson 1, and we'll move on to lesson 2, which will be magnitudes of the stars. Learning your magnitudes, meaning the brightness scales of the stars, going from very bright to somewhat faint and then very faint. Okay, thank you.